I was still eating like I was 16 years old.
And I was eating like I was pregnant, so.
And we ate cookies every single night.
Every night.
And clearly,
we had the Finley 20.
Yes, I put on some extra LBs. All right, so one of the questions that we get asked all the time, specifically from parents with little kids, because that was us. That's where we...
I believe that was us.
Yes, because we have old kids, and that makes us old. What did it look like to stay healthy? Mostly, like, I guess we'll talk in a physical sense. Like, how do you prioritize? Because there's the whole emotional, there's the marriage health, there's all that kind of stuff. Like, physically, what did we do or wish that we had done? Because heaven knows we didn't do it all right when our kids were little to try to stay healthy, at least in the physical sense.
Let's back way up. Back that thing up. We're going to back up to the time when I was actually pregnant with our first. And that was not too far after we had gotten married.
Yep.
And so, honestly, all I did was run and lift some arm weights. I didn't know.
And all I'd ever done before that was play sports. I'd never actually gone to work out on my own.
I mean, shameless plug for Be Tribal Fit. I wish I would have had an online...
Something else that you were doing.
Something. I could have worked out from home. I could have known how to take care of my whole body.
But we were mostly sitting around. I was still eating like I was 16 years old.
And I was eating like I was pregnant, so...
And we ate cookies every single night.
Every night.
And clearly,
we had the Finley 20.
Yes, I put on some extra LBs. So this guy was full. I think
our kids now are like, is that Dad? How can that be Dad?
Well, the funny thing is, I actually remember we had a picture with our daughter, and she was 6 months old. And I remember you took a picture, and I looked at the picture when it got printed, because people used to print pictures way back in the days of old. And I remember looking at that picture, and I came to you and I said, Brooke, is this really what I look like? And she goes, it is. I think the next day I went out and got running shoes and started running.
Yeah.
And that's honestly what I did probably from the time our kids were like 1 through, I don't know, 10, something like that.
You were running.
I didn't lift much. I wish that I was lifting more.
He was running. How many marathons you ran when they were little?
Well, I think our kids were like 5, 4, and 1, something like that when I started training.
Yeah.
That's about when I turned 30.
5, 4, and 1.
And I decided, you know what? I'm going to run a marathon.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of wired that way. And so I probably spent a few years doing a lot of that. I got down from my highest weight ever to kind of my lowest weight as an adult. I think I lost almost 30 pounds.
Crazy.
Almost, but not quite.
Yeah.
So I ran a bunch, and then I think I did push-ups. I mean, honestly, those two things are not bad. I wanted to, but how did we make that work? Because the hardest thing is trying to find time and the schedule. How did that work out for us?
Well, I feel like I need to interject here and say that my upbringing with fitness it was like a priority, a super major priority that I took into our marriage. Do you believe this to be true?
Fair. Mm-hmm.
Fair. But I had to bend a little and realize it wasn't such a big priority with his family, and he had to realize it was an over priority with mine.
And I think when our kids were little, you would spend hours and hours kind of involving going to the gym and doing all that kind of stuff, and that wasn't sustainable either.
No, but I honestly didn't even go to the gym at all until after my second kid was born. This is true.
Because they were back to back.
They were back to back. I had one large baby, pretty much. They were about 14 months apart, so this was a large baby, one on each hip. And the funniest thing is I remember story time. I remember going for a walk. It was chilly. Our very first baby was born. And I had gone for a walk down the street, trying out a little jogging, seeing what the body could do after having a baby. And I came up the hill to our house, and I hear someone going, Brooke! And it was like holding my child, and it's cold. Guys, we were young. We didn't really know what we were doing.
I also don't know why we're sharing this story.
I love sharing this story because it was crazy. But we weren't working together. It's hard to have that first baby. It's hard to know how each one is going to get that time to do your physical activity.
So how did we make it work? What did we end up like? The takeaways, the go-tos, what were the things that we found that worked for us?
The things that we ended up finding that worked for us was we did end up getting a gym membership.
We did.
And I remember finding some classes that I loved, and I was not going to miss those. And those were the classes I learned how to actually squat and lunge, because I'd only run and lift arm weights.
Well, I think you replaced some of the just kind of at home chaos with the gym chaos.
Yeah.
Like the effort of packing kids up and going to the gym was hard, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
A few days a week to be able to get some sanity for
Yeah.
you. Like you were overall better.
I have seen the mental benefits of exercise and getting that in somehow. And I remember having a double stroller day after day after day. I would load the babies in there and I would run or walk. And I remember them not loving it at times, but I would always make that happen.
Somewhat staying in shape became a hobby for us, or at least took the place of all that extra hobby time. And it was one of those things that we decided, hey, we're going to have time to do certain hobbies that take a certain number of hours in a day, but the hobbies that would take, full days all the time, the hobbies that would take, significant amounts of every single day wouldn't leave us that 30, 40, 50 minute kind of margin that we would need to. You don't have to do a lot. You just have to do something every single day.
Yeah.
Not every single day. Enough days of the week
And
to
I think,
kind of meet your goals. How did we do it together, back and forth? Like you would take a turn, I would take a turn.
Yeah, always.
Somebody got up early.
No, honestly.
Somebody would go in the afternoon.
I remember it being almost a sadness because when we were dating and early married, we would exercise a lot together.
Yep.
It was our thing. You rescued me while we were dating by going
let's go. Let's
going
get
on
out of here.
runs with me around the park, got me out of here. And I remember that being a sadness for me.
That we
is
couldn't
that
work out together
we're not
anymore.
working out together right now.
Which for some people is great, like getting up early and working out together before the
Yeah.
kids. But
Totally.
that doesn't work for every couple in every situation.
Yeah, and I have people subscribe now to the workouts, and it's after the kids are in bed. They do their workouts together.
Yep. I think what we learned is the later in the day that you wait to work out, especially when kids are little, the more likely it is that you're going to miss.
Totally.
And so when I was running a bunch, I would almost always do that early in the morning.
Yeah.
And some people go at lunch, but the later in the day, the more things can come up. If it's a big priority for you, you have to do it first, because the rest of the day is going to fill out from there.
Yeah. It was helpful that we were both liked to exercise or liked to run pre getting married and in marriage. So it wasn't a shock to either one of us that we needed to prioritize that. And truth be told, this guy knew I was kind of a nicer human.
Also true. If your wife needs it, then make sure she gets it.
Yep.
And also make sure if it's that big of a deal to her, it probably should be a big deal to you. That was us.
I love that.